Alright, welcome to We Chat Football, the channel where we chat football, and we'll be doing a recap of the game against Sunderland in midweek. A game where we won, courtesy of a goal from Verge. Big Verge step up with a goal right there, and give us a full 3 points in that game. So during that game, leading up to the game, there was lots of question to Arne Slot about the squad, about is this like players in the squad. He replied that the squad is not good enough, and that's kind of a bit of a strange one coming from the manager coming out stating that the squad that pretty much won the league last year is not good enough to challenge for the league this year, which is kind of weird. Again, it's a lot of weird coming out from the manager, I would say, throughout the course of this season. Hey lads, what's up? So man, yes, trying to get back these streams going so I can connect with you guys again. Yes, so a lot of things coming out of that game, where he keeps saying that the squad isn't good enough. I mean, there are young players in the squad. There are a bunch of talented young individuals in that squad that I just believe if the manager could utilize them properly, then we wouldn't be in such of a disarray, I would say. We've seen our squad with more injuries than this, including no defenders on the Jurgen Klopp, where we had we were able to finish fourth. Yes, we were struggling throughout the course of the season, but at that point we had no defenders. And again, another mistake that Jurgen Klopp did during that game was not to trust the young players. And that was it. He did not trust the young players during that season, which led to the squad falling off, which led to the squad struggling throughout that season. And once he put in like the defenders that we have in the reserve back in defense, that season ended off on an unbeaten run because you had players playing their natural position. And I think that's something that Slot needs to do, is to turn around and trust these players. I am not sure why he's not trusting the likes of Calvin Ramsey. Again, a defender playing a defensive role and in a natural position, rather than you put in someone that's not a natural defender playing at right back. Like we did Sabo at right back, which takes away from his natural ability as a central midfielder, right? Because then once he plays right back, we realize that there is not enough running in the middle of the field, because let's be honest, Gravenberg doesn't cover a lot of ground, neither does McAllister. None of these players covers a lot of ground. They are exceptional when we have the ball, but they don't cover a lot of ground when we do not have the ball. So that's kind of one of the problems that I'm finding with this team right now, is that the balance of the team is like way off. Then we have Joe Gomez. For the most part of the season, I know Joe Gomez is injury prone, but again, Joe Gomez was sitting on the bench when Summerside was playing right back this season. Yes, I know, he came in, he got injured. That's not the point. My point is, and this is one of the talking points I want to touch on, especially for this video, is the fact that the manager is here sitting saying that the squad itself isn't good enough, and then coming out saying that any player that's not a part of the first team is not good enough. So therefore, pretty much saying that, okay, then a lot of these youngsters will not make the grade and not given the chance at the club. So are you planning on blocking the pathway for these youngsters to come through? That's why we got some of these talented youngsters from other clubs coming to Liverpool, because there was always a pathway for them to come through. And yes, I get it. We might not be in a title race this season and your job is on the line this season, but we see where if you put players to play in their rightful position, young players coming through, they will come through. Like we've seen it before at this club, seen it on the Jurgen Cup, we've seen it with managers before that, even Brendan Rodgers, to be fair. Like how young was Sterling when he came in to the squad and delivered. We didn't win anything, but he stepped up. We've seen young Rio earlier this season getting 2 minutes, 1 minute. And again, if it wasn't an intervene from higher up, we wouldn't see Rio getting more game time. We need defensive midfield stealing. We see Endo on the bench. We still see Gakpo was dropping stinker after stinker with Chiesa sitting on the bench. Isak come back not fully fit, but you drop Ekitike who was on form. The mismanagement of the squad this season by the manager is one of the biggest problems. And then to have the audacity to come out and state that the squad isn't good enough. Isn't good enough to win the league that you won last season. And how many players did we lose in the summer for the squad not to be good enough? We lost out of all the players that he used throughout the season last season was Trent and Luis Diaz. Well, Jota. Okay, R.I.P. Jota. However, even though we end up losing these players, you can't tell me that you haven't improved on Trent or equivalent with Frimpong. Bradley's still there. Yes, both of them are injury prone. But you can fill a gap with another young player. In the front line, Ekitike stepped up, already doing better numbers this season than what both Jota and Darwin Núñez did last season. Sorry, I forgot about Darwin Núñez. Still are doing better numbers. Yes, Gakpo isn't playing the same way or pressing the same way or giving that output like what he's giving the output, sorry, but not giving the work rate of what, say, a Luis Diaz used to give or a Sadio Mane used to give on that side. You know who we have on that could play that side that would give that work rate? Chiesa. He shows every time he comes on that he'll give the work rate. And if we need somebody on that side of the field that is willing to take on players, is willing to go one-on-one, trying to beat players, trying to compete. We have the likes of Rio. These are players in the squad that if the manager turns around and trusts these players, rotate these players, play these players in matches that you find that things are not working, it will work out. Like, we will have a better output. We would have had a better season this season if the manager had managed a squad that he's saying is not good enough to challenge. I think it's not the squad that's not good enough. I think it's the manager that's not good enough to manage the squad. Yes, there's a lot of holes in the squad. Yes, we're short in centre-back position. That's something that we knew going into the season. Right? But then, earlier in the season, it's like Leone was sitting on the bench when there was mistakes with Konate until he played Leone in a League Cup game and he got injured, season-ending injury. But even then, after Leone got injured, there was still Joe Gomez that was fit. Mistakes after mistakes. Didn't try to change anything this season. And that's been an ongoing thing right throughout the season from Arne Slot, is his management of the squad. You can ask any Liverpool personnel online, you see in public, even the most loyal, even Redmond TV, if they're willing to speak the truth, they will say it's a mismanagement of the squad. Even if they don't think that the manager should be sacked, you cannot deny that he has mismanaged his squad really badly. Because we have young players in the squad, like the likes of Harvey Elliott. You let Harvey Elliott leave, which is a player that can fill in. He can play both in the midfield area, and he can play on the right. But you allow him to leave, and then you're complaining that we do not have enough cover in the squad. It is that I do not believe that this manager can actually manage a squad. Kwanzaa leaving in the summer because the manager, I don't get the point of some of the players that he's allowing to leave. Like, what, you let Kwanzaa go because you thought you're gonna get Mark Way? Joe Gomez was gonna go as well. So why not keep Kwanzaa? Let Gomez go if that's the case, because again, he's injury prone. And then try to sign Mark Way. Yes, we'll have two young centre backs, but will I have Kwanzaa right now? The thing is that I just feel like last season it was a lot of Jurgen Klopp style still playing, and he tried to implement his style this season, which again hasn't worked. However, what is the worst part about I think this season so far is his actual lack of managing the squad properly. I think this squad has been so mismanaged this season that it shows by the players. I think the players don't believe in the manager due to the fact of how he treats a lot of the other players in this squad. Right? There's a bunch of players that when you really look at it, you're wondering what do they have to do to get a game. In games that we need to close out, in games that we need players in the middle of the field to close out the game, we're up, we're leading, we're conceding so many late goals. We have not seen Endo come on the field to close out a game, and every single Liverpool player knows what happened when Endo comes on the field. It happened last season. Every time we're leading, Endo comes on the field, that's a closeout. So you're leading a game. You have 10 minutes. You're trying to close out the game. Get a midfielder of Sabo, Grav, and Endo on there. That's enough running and enough cover, with especially Endo that has defensive awareness, which will not allow a lot of these balls that have been threaded through the midfield. And when you look at it, it's always Grav out of place, Gravenberch out of place, McAllister nowhere to be found. Because again, let's be honest, both Gravenberch and McAllister, they are not like defensive midfielders, ultimate defensive midfielders. Yes, they're doing a job, and yes, they're great at what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, they're extremely great at what they're doing. But the first instinct is not to defend first. These are ball progressors, right? McAllister is a deep line playmaker, whether they want to accept that, yes or no. Gravenberch is a ball carrier. So that's why the first thing Gravenberch looked to do when he picks up the ball is to run with the ball in the middle of the park. Without the ball, Grav isn't looking behind him to see who is picking up these spaces. How far am I from the defense line? If I'm going to move from here to there, who's going to cover that spot? Making sure the spot is covered. We see it with Fab when Fabinho was at the club. He used the timing, where his positioning was defensively was off the charts. And again, this is not a stick at Gravenberch. This is a stick that the manager need, especially when we are leading games, because we dropped so many points this season from winning position. Especially the games that we are winning, you get somebody else in there to play with Gravenberch in that defensive role to see out the game. Even if it means the likes of McAllister only get 70 minutes or 80 minutes per game, and then you get Endo on in the last 10, last 20, however it might be, to see the game through. Pull Verts out, if that's the case as well, to get a more steady midfield, a more defensive midfield, and then you hit teams on the counter if they're trying to chase the game. Literally, that's a lot of the time what Jurgen Klopp used to do, and then we used to rip teams apart because we have the pace up front. It's easy to point fingers, for him to point fingers at players that, oh, this play didn't happen, but it's also a lot of the stuff that you're doing tactically. Yes, and again, this is coming off a win at Sunderland, right? Which is, again, another scrappy game. A Virgil van Dijk goal, own goal, whatever, however you want to classify it. It's a 1-0 win. Yes, we finally see out a game. A close margin game, we finally see it out. It took long enough. It took 20-something game for us to be able to see out a close game. But again, I think the only saving grace for him this season is Champions League. And again, I don't write it off that he can deliver the Champions League. Yes, we are playing crap. Yes, he looks out of his depth right now. But let's be honest, we just need a lucky draw and a few lucky results, and there we are. In the final, in a one-off game that literally could go anywhere. So, yeah, it's one of those where you really have to question everything that's happening in and around the club. And again, we also have to question the higher ups, like, what is happening? Because even though he might not trust the squad, January we needed defenders. We needed a centre back in January. That was a known fact that we needed a centre back in January. And that was not delivered. So again, as I said, even though for Arne Slot, it's looking peak, but also for the recruitment team, who, like, what is happening? Why the window went? Why the window closed? And the one position that we knew we needed, it didn't get delivered. There is still stuff to play for this season. Let's be honest. We still are in the Champions League. Whether a lot of people believe we can win it, yes or no, that's up for debate. And that could be a good debate. We're still in the FA Cup. That's still a competition that we can win. Well, we'll see over the weekend, because I think we have Brighton over the weekend for the FA Cup. So we're in it right at this moment. At the time of recording the video, we're in the FA Cup. They still have that to play for. So there's still stuff to play for this season. So the season isn't completely over. As for the Premier League, as for winning the Premier League, yes, that's dead. The League Cup, that's dead. We're not in that. But the fact that we are still in other competitions and we still need defenders. We still needed a centre back. Because with all these injury crises that's happening at right back, God forbid if something was supposed to happen to Konate or Van Dijk, and then we're extremely short at centre back. Then you see Gravenberch playing centre back. That's what it is. We're just one more injury away from everything going through the window. So whether they're thinking that they want to keep the manager, yes or no, that was relevant from the point that we also needed a centre back in this window, the window that just went. So therefore, we have to question the recruitment team as well. And why was there no signings that came in the January window? I get it. They might be thinking that they're thinking that they might move him on. Okay, but you haven't. He's still there. And I thought the Liverpool policy was that we're going to buy players to fit a system, but not buy players to fit a manager. I'm still questioning a lot of stuff that's happening in and around the club, from management to recruitment. Yes, we brought in some really good attacking talent over the summer. Some exciting ones, right? And again, 90% of them is hitting the ground running. And as much as it is crazy to say that Isak is a flop this season, well, he's injured. So that's not much on him. But Wirtz is hitting the ground running right now. Ekitike has hit the ground running since he walked through the door. Right? Frimpong, when he's fit, looks really exciting this season. Leone looked amazing when he played that game before he picked up that injury. So yes, the signing coming in this season looks really good. However, we needed more in January because again, as I said, there's still a lot to play for. And I know they tried to sign Dumfries as cover, but why are you signing a player for cover that is injured? So it was okay, like Arne Slot said he didn't want him, and that's okay, because again, it makes no sense you're signing an injured player to cover two injured players. That part didn't make any sense to me. So we're short in multiple areas. We needed another defensive midfielder if the manager doesn't want to play Endo. And then he finally plays Endo. Where did he play Endo? Right back. I mean, if you put up a graph and how many players this manager has played out of position this season, it would have been maybe more than what he plays in their natural position. Right? It's one of them. And again, on the players as well. Why are they switching off so much in games? Why can't they see a game out? These are title winning players. Virgil van Dijk, 2-time Premier League champions, Champions League winner, FA Cup, League Cup winner. Struggling to organize a backline and saying and keeping everybody focused. Struggling, and he's a captain as well. And he's struggling to organize the backline, struggling to lead the team. Yes, he led the team to a Premier League last season. But again, being captain is not about one season. And if we all want to be honest, Virgil is struggling as a Liverpool captain to lead the team. He's not demanding enough from the squad on the pitch. He can have these nice meetings off the pitch and get the players' rally cry going while he is off the pitch, and then they have meetings and presentations and PowerPoints and bring up his Excel spreadsheet as much as he wants to bring up during this meeting. But we're not seeing it on the pitch either. He's not leading on the pitch either. So you want to be captain. This is what it requires to be a Liverpool captain. I don't know about any other club, but this is what it requires to be a Liverpool captain. You have to be a leader. And you have to show your leadership on the field. How can you be a worse leader than Jordan Henderson, who used to get subbed off, who used to not even start games sometimes? But guess what? When Hendo shows up, you can tell that Hendo is a captain. And he was not my favorite player. Right? I didn't even really like Henderson, to be fair. But one thing I won't not say that he wasn't a good captain for Liverpool. Because I can put my bias aside to say that, listen, he was able to lead the team. That's something that's very lacking from Virgil van Dijk, is leading this team. Right? You're not leading by your performance, because your performance has been stinky all season, but at the same time, you're also not leading by organizing the backline. I think one World Cup finalist defender, one of the best goalkeepers in the league, one of the best defenders in the league, and we're still making sloppy defensive mistakes all over the field with a captain that's a defender, a captain that is supposed to be organizing, leading, making sure players are not free, making sure players are picking up their runners, there is a lot of stuff that he should be monitoring across that defensive line, making sure players are not switched off. Not jumping around like a child having a tantrum whenever a goal goes in. Keep talking to your players around you, making sure your defensive midfielders are in the areas that they need to be, making sure your fullbacks are in the areas that they need to be, making sure your defensive defender, the defensive partner that you have, is in the position that he's supposed to be. Especially when there is 10 minutes to go in a game. Making sure that your wingers are coming back to defend when there's 10 minutes to go in a game. Making sure the intensity is up on the field. Not just pointing fingers after a goal going and hanging your head down. These are things that the captain on the field needs to enforce. Because let's be honest, the captain is supposed to be enforcing what the manager is needed. And I can sit here and say, listen, I don't think Arne Slot is good enough to manage Liverpool after the season, but he did deliver a league. And even though he's maybe not good enough, there is so many individual mistakes that have been made over the course of the season that we can point to, from players not tracking runners, from players not putting enough effort on the field, from so many defensive mistakes that's happening individual. And people can look at Kirkus, people can look at Robinson, people can look at Konate, but still the problem is we have to look at who's leading this team. And the leaders in this team are the biggest problem right now this season, which includes captain and manager. And yes, when the blame is going out from performance on the field, we have to split it. These are the leaders. You put that armband on, you take that responsibility. And you have to take the responsibility with the manager as well, because your performance is not up to scratch, nor your leadership of this team while it's on the field. The manager can't lead the team off the field because of his dumb decisions that he's making, and the likes of keep on playing players out of position, or not playing players, or not rotating the squad properly, or not having proper man management. That is a problem. And then we have our captain looking like Bambi on ice and can't organize the defense line, much less to motivate the team while they're on the pitch, to make sure that we don't drop silly points, to make sure that we don't concede silly goals. There's so many things that is not happening right now. So we, outside of just a manager, we also need a captain. That's where we're at right now. We need both a manager and a captain, and a few more signings as well. So again, what's so bad about the squad? Recruitment in areas that we're short, which is in the defense area. The captain not being able to lead, not being able to organize, not able to send a rocket up on some of the players that are walking around on the field, that are not tracking back, that are not tracking their runners, and conceding late goal. The manager for not trusting players, for throwing players under the bus every single game this season. There's another player that got thrown under that bus. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that's causing what the problem is right now at Liverpool. And I do not think it is that the squad is not good enough. This squad is still good enough to be in top 4 comfortably, even if we're not out and out challenging for the league. But being so far off third, the squad is better than that. Because if you look at some of the games that we drop once this season, you can see a ton of individual mistakes. Right? Anyways, that's my rant anyways for today. And again, good win, 3 points. Something that we needed. But what has changed? Not much. Again, we see the difference of what happened on the weekend when we play Brighton in the FA Cup, because it's an FA Cup weekend. And again, tomorrow 8 p.m. Pacific time, I'll be doing a show, my Friday Vibe show, where I have to listen to City and United fan talk about how their team is one is challenging and one is pushing for top 4, while I have a manager out here to complain about the squad isn't good enough. Anyways, peace, and I catch